The evening was filled with golden lights, the type that makes you feel comfortable, even when your chest is squeezing. I sat in the restaurant, my blue suit sharp against my skin, the one I'd selected because I thought tonight was mine. 6 years. 6 long years of late hours, mending other people's messes, carrying the team on my back. And this was meant to be the payoff. My coworkers laughed, their drinks clinking together, the sound harsh in my ears, as I held Elena's arm. She looked gorgeous, her smile sweet and happy, and I felt that familiar throb in my chest. HR had dropped signals all week. My boss had sneered at me in the corridor, and that internal message had virtually screamed big news. I was ready for it. Senior manager, my name on the door, my award. Suddenly, my boss, Darren, tapped his glass. The room quieted down, and I straightened up, ready to hear my name roll off his lips. Instead, he stated, Ray, the person who'd been here 3 months, who still questioned where the printer was. I felt my face freeze, my grin twitching like it didn't know what to do. Everyone clapped, cheered, looked at Ray like he was some hero. I gulped hard, my throat dry, and gazed at Elena. She leaned forward, her voice cutting through the clamor, lovely as ever, and shouted to the whole room, "He already does a lot more than my husband. He deserves it." My stomach twisted, but I forced my lips to curve back up a mask. That's what it was now. I raised my glass, the champagne bitter on my tongue. I joined the toast. They all smiled at me, oblivious, thinking I was okay with it, happy with getting passed over, fine with my wife's remarks slicing me apart in front of everyone. They had no clue. Monday was going to be a hell of a day, and I'd make sure of it. I sipped my drink, the bubbles stinging, and let the noise of their joy wash over me. 6 years of loyalty, and this was what I received. A pat on the back and a kick to the belly. I'd been the one staying late, the one revising Ray's poor reports those initial weeks, the one Darren phoned when deadlines neared, and suddenly, Ray was the star. I looked at him, laughing with the others, his tie loose, like he'd already settled into the role. I might have loathed him, but he wasn't the problem. He was simply a pawn. Darren, though, he made the call. And Elena, her words reverberated in my head, louder than the conversation surrounding me. She'd said it so effortlessly, like it was nothing, like I was nothing. I kept my grasp steady on the glass, my knuckles white, and nodded, along as someone passed by. Once again, they thought this was my night too, in some strange manner, like I'd be thrilled to clap for the guy who stole my place. I wasn't happy. I was counting. Every laugh, every cheer, every glance Elena hurled. Ray's way. It was gasoline. I didn't need to yell or storm out. That wasn't me. I understood a long time ago. Genuine strength isn't loud. It's quiet, deliberate, unstoppable. So I stood there, playing the nice sport, letting them think they'd won. The restaurant sparkled around us, all warm wood and gentle lights. But inside me, something was shifting. I wasn't the guy they thought I was anymore. Not after tonight. I finished my drink, placed the glass down, and grabbed Elena's hand, a bit too firmly, when she reached for me. She didn't realize. She was too busy smiling. At Ray, at Darren, at the future she imagined she'd helped build. Let her smile. Let them all smile. I'd been the backbone for too long, and now I was done bending. Monday was coming, and I'd show them what happens when you take a man for granted. Steel sunlight streamed in, and when I walked through, people waved at me like I belonged. No awkward steps, no whispering, just respect. Andrew was waiting at the elevators, his grin big and true, the kind you don't fake. "Mason," he said, slapping me on the shoulder. "Welcome to the squad." I nodded back, feeling the weight settle in. Not heavy, but sturdy, like a foundation I could build on. He didn't waste time. We rode up to the 5th floor, and he led me directly to my office. My office. Not a cubicle. Not a shared desk. An actual room with a door and a window that ran across the wall, overlooking the city. I stood there for a second, taking it in. The skyline. Stark against the blue sky. "This is yours," Andrew remarked, leaning against the doorway. "No proving yourself. No waiting. We know what you can do." I turned to him, the corner of my mouth pulling up. "Good," I replied, "because I'm ready to work." He chuckled, brief, sharp, and handed me a folder. Day 1, Expansion Strategy. "We're trying to triple our reach in 6 months. You're leading it." I flipped the folder open, studying the numbers, the maps, the client lists. This wasn't busy work or cleansing. This was real, the kind of job I'd been yearning to pursue for years. No one hovering over my shoulder, no Darren shooting down. My ideas to play it safe, just me, my intellect, and an opportunity to make something big. I set the folder on my desk, and sat down. The chair fit me like it had been waiting. Andrew didn't linger. "I'll let you settle in," he murmured, tapping the doorframe. "Meeting at 10, you're on." Then he was gone, leaving me with the stillness and the vista. I leaned back, letting it sink in. This wasn't just a new job. It was a new world. At the old place, I'd been on a treadmill. Same grind, same faces, same excuses. Here, my voice mattered. I didn't have to shout to be heard or beg for a place at the table. They'd given me the whole damn room. I opened my laptop, the screen lighting up, and started delving into the expansion plan. Figures danced in my head, thoughts clicking into place. New markets, new clients, new ways to push the firm ahead. It felt amazing, like stretching muscles I hadn't used in too long. At the old office, I'd been trapped, fixing other people's messes, patching holes Ray couldn't even see. Here, I was building, not repairing. The clock ticked toward 10, and I grabbed the folder, heading for the meeting room. All glass walls and sleek tables. A dozen people already inside. Andrew motioned me in, pointing to a chair near the head of the table. "Masons, taking point on the expansion," he stated, his voice carrying effortless confidence. Heads turned. Eyes on me. Not suspicious. Not judging. Just waiting. I stood up, laid out the folder, and started talking. No script, no jitters, just the plan, flooding out of me. Where we'd go, how we'd get there, what it would take. They listened, nodded, asked sharp questions I could answer, without blinking. It wasn't a performance. It was me, doing what I'd always known I could, finally free to display it. The meeting wrapped, and Andrew caught me on the way out. "Knew I picked the right guy," he said, grinning again. I just nodded, but inside, I felt it. A spark I hadn't had in years. This was what I'd been missing, buried under Darren's games and Elena's shadow. The rest of the day flew by, emails, calls, sketching out timelines. My office stayed silent, no one barging in to spew their issues on me. I worked late, not because I had to, because I wanted to. The city lights blinked on outside, gleaming off the glass. I leaned back, staring at them. This wasn't a chapter. It was a whole new book. I thought about the old place. For a second, Darren scrambling, Elena pretending she hadn't screwed me over. They didn't matter here. Carter and Miles wasn't a stepping stone or a consolation prize. It was a kingdom, and I was already carving out my place in it. My phone buzzed. Rachel. Probably more gossip. Let it sit. I didn't need updates on their mess. I was too busy creating something better.